Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Warren Buffett, he said that, and it matters so much right here in South Florida. Because you see, a lot of people are asking their own question. They keep asking, what's the hottest neighborhood in South Florida? But the better question really is, which neighborhood still have the best chance to build long-term equity, over the next 5, 10, or even 15 years? In this video, I'm gonna walk you through 10 South Florida neighborhoods that I believe have some of the strongest long-term equity potential. Not because it sounds exciting, but because of the fundamentals behind them. Before we dive in, thank you to everyone who has already subscribed to the channel. I truly appreciate you. I really do. Thank you for taking the time. It does mean a lot to me. And if you're new here, welcome. This channel is designed for everybody that wants to know more about home buying, home ownership, maybe you think about investing, or people that want to relocate to South Florida and who want real guidance, clear expectations, and just an honest insight. So please go ahead, subscribe, like this video, share with someone who's thinking about moving, and drop a comment telling me which South Florida area you have been watching, or maybe where you live. Do you agree with my list? You disagree? What would your list look like? I would love to know. So let's set the stage. South Florida is still one of the most watched housing markets in the country, but the conversation has changed. We're no longer in the phase where almost anything will sell fast and values will seem to jump overnight. Buyers have become more selective. Inventory has improved in parts of the market. And people are thinking harder about insurance and commuting and flood exposure and school zones and long-term livability. That actually makes this a better time just to think clearly before you make that purchase, before you make that investment or that move. Because, see, long-term equity usually does not come from the chase. It comes from buying in places with lasting demand, places connected to jobs, places with land constraints, places with walkability, redevelopment, transit access, strong schools, or quality of life that has an advantage over everything else that just keeps people wanting in. And you see, official planning across Miami, across Lauderdale, across the Tri-County regions continue to emphasize redevelopment and mixed-use growth and transit-like development. So this video is not about the cheapest neighborhoods, and it's not about overnight flips. And it's not a guarantee either. You have to do your research, but I am talking about where long-term looks different. It looks the strongest when you combine location and infrastructure and redevelopment and how desirable the area is. I'm talking about staying power. I'm talking about neighborhoods that you could buy now and for sure, for a long time, you'll be able to hold and make some real money in it, that you could live well and also make, wealth building. That's what we talked about. So let's get into it. Let's talk real estate. At number 10, let's start with Allapattah. See, Allapattah is interesting because it's close to downtown Miami, close to the health districts, close to Wynwood, and it's close to just major transportation corridors. And that matters. When a neighborhood is near jobs, hospitals, universities, and urban core growth, it tends to stay in the conversation longer than areas that are more isolated. What I like here is not that it is polished, because it's not, but there are some issues here, but it is positioned, and that's what it is, that's the word. I like it because it's positioned. This is the type of area where buyers who got priced out of other more obvious neighborhoods, they start looking at this area next. And when that happens over time, values continue to climb because the location starts doing the heavy lifting. Real life examples here. For example, someone cannot comfortably buy in Wynwood or Edgewater. They move one ring out, but still want urban access. That is where a neighborhood like Allapattah starts becoming more attractive. The risk, it is still block by block. Buyers need to study the exact pocket, not just the zip code, because Allapattah is changing. But it got room to grow. Therefore, it got equity growth. At number 9, we have Little River and Little Haiti. This one is one of the clearest adjacent growth stories in Miami. Little River and Little Haiti benefit from being near Wynwood, the Design District, Midtown, and downtown, but at just a lower entry point than some of the areas that are more established, the ones that have more urban markets, established urban markets. See, that kind of pricing gap can matter over time when buyers and investors are looking for value near proven demand centers. Some markets commentary has pointed to especially strong multi-year appreciation in this area. Though I would still treat that as a signal, not a promise. Again, this is not just about art or vibe, it's about geography. When higher priced neighborhoods just continue to just expand outward, the ones in the area, the facility, with development or redevelopment, I should say, momentum, they just benefit from that. And with the city of Miami continuing to support transit-oriented growth tools, the broader urban core has more structural support than it did years ago. The caution here is still the same as the one before. You have to know the exact streets. You have to know zoning context. You have to know the flood considerations and whether you're buying for lifestyle, rental potential, or both. At number 8, we have downtown Dadeland and the Kendall corridor. This one doesn't get talked about enough. See, when I think about long-term equity, I look for neighborhoods where everyday life just works. Not just glamour, not just views, but real life. Downtown Dadeland and the Kendall corridor benefit from an established residential base with strong retails, with major road access, proximity to employment centers, and practical lifestyle that appeals to a wide range of buyers. These are the kind of places that can hold demand because people can actually live there well. And here's something buyers miss. A neighborhood does not have to feel brand new to build equity. Sometimes the best long-term plays are the ones with durable demand and fewer question marks. That's important. The upside here is steadier, it's more steady than flashy, right? That is not a weakness. And for many buyers, that's exactly the point. At number 7, we have Palmetto Bay. Palmetto Bay makes this list for one big reason. It is a family-driven resilience that exists there. It is unbeatable. School appeal, larger lots, neighborhood feel, and just long-term owner demand that matters. In a market that can move in cycles, family-oriented neighborhoods with good reputation tend to recover and hold attention well, I should say, because just buyers are not only chasing a house, they're chasing a lifestyle. Palmetto Bay tends to appeal to buyers who want more space without giving up the Miami-Dade access completely. See, that creates a real pool of long-term demand. The trade-off, insurance, taxes, and commuting still matters. So A neighborhood can be strong, but sometimes might still require smart math to make it work. At number 6, we have Pinecrest. If Palmetto Bay is a family value play, Pinecrest is a premium school and land play. Pinecrest has a long-term equity appeal because it is hard to replicate. Large lots, established prestige, a school-driven demand, a strong buyer profile, and limited true substitutes. That matters a lot in real estate. When something is difficult to reproduce, the long-term value, it's just hard to reproduce. So you often just, the value just gets stronger. That's what happens. And that's what happens in Pinecrest. Pinecrest is not for buyers hunting for the lowest entry point. It's definitely not. It is for buyers thinking about capital preservation, household stability, and just a premium long-term desirability. Market commentary in 2026 continues to point to Pinecrest as nearby southern suburbs as a strong value hold because of school demand and space. This is a great example of a neighborhood where equity potential may come from staying desirable more than dramatic reinvention. Let me just interrupt you really quickly. Just to remind you that if this video is helping you in any way, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. I try to post videos at least once a week. No hypes, no pressure. I just want to give you some real guidance. And if you're thinking about buying or selling in South Florida, I want to walk you through the numbers personally. So please reach out. I'll be more than happy to meet with you over the phone, over Zoom, anywhere that is convenient to you, and kind of walk you through the process, and hopefully we could do business together. So please subscribe, please share, please like, leave a comment, give me a call, anything that we could do together. Let's conquer this real estate business together. Now let's get back to the video. At number 6, we have Coral Gables. You had to be on this list. Coral Gables belong on almost any serious long-term value list. Why? Because it checks several boxes all at once. Location, beauty, historic character, established demand, and just a limited supply in the most desirable pockets. It is one of those neighborhoods where buyers often want in for reasons beyond spreadsheets. And that emotional demand matters more than people realize. Parts of Coral Gables continue to be viewed as among Miami's most resilient submarkets, especially areas with strong access and classic neighborhood appeal. This is where I remind buyers of something very simple. Equity potential is not only about upside, it is also about durability. The risk here is obvious. Entry price is higher, but long-term buyers are often paying for staying power. On number 4, we have Oakland Park. Downtown corridor, big, beautiful Broward. So let's move into Broward. Oakland Park is one of the more interesting long-term stories because it is actively shaping its identity. The city's downtown transformation includes mixed-use development and civic reinvestment around the urban core, which can create momentum over time when done well. The city recently highlighted a sky at Oakland Park and the relocation of the City Hall into the downtown core as part of a broader transformation strategy. The kind of public-private momentum matters. That kind of private-public momentum matters. It does not mean prices only go up, but it does mean there is a real vision for place making. And neighborhoods with a clear trajectory often outperform neighborhoods with no clear story at all. This one is especially worth watching for buyers who want Broward access specifically without jumping straight into the most expensive coastal pockets. At number 3, we have Pompano Beach is old Pompano. Of course, we still are in Broward County. Pompano Beach has been quietly changing over the years, and more people are finally taking notice. What I like here is the blend. You have coastal access and redevelopment. You have improved perception and relatively value compared with some nearby luxury-heavy markets. That combination can matter a lot, especially for long-term equity, especially when an area goes from overlooked to more mainstream. Pompano is not a secret anymore, but it still can offer a better value than some neighborhoods near beach markets. And in South Florida, that better value near the water angle can be powerful. The caution here is huge though. Condos are still a different conversation than single-family homes right now, or investment properties. Fees, reserves, assessment, and building conditions matter more than ever. At number 2, also in Broward, we got Flagler Village, downtown Fort Lauderdale. This one is the clearest urban growth place in Broward County. Fort Lauderdale's downtown master plan explicitly focuses on creating a more active urban center with housing, with transportation, with shopping, with office space, with entertainment. And on top of that, the city's CRA activity and the broader Fort Lauderdale growth story has helped shape real momentum around downtown and Flagler Village. Then, at transit, Broward Community Rail is planned to extend services from Aventura all the way towards Fort Lauderdale, with a corridor tied to the same broader Coastal Rail visions affecting Miami-Dade and Palm Beach. So, when you combine the urban core growth, transit relevance, and lifestyle appeal, that is a strong long-term formula. This is one of my favorite stories, one of my favorite examples, at least of a neighborhood where the economic story and the lifestyle story just line up. At number 1, I have downtown West Palm Beach. Of course, we're now in Palm Beach County. So my number 1 is downtown West Palm Beach, not because it is cheap, and not because it is undiscovered, but because it sits at the intersection of jobs, redevelopment, transit, and lifestyle. The HUD's West Palm Beach housing market analysis noted a major mixed-use development in the pipeline in downtown West Palm Beach. And Palm Beach County has continued benefiting from major office moves and business migration since the pandemic. Brightline and regional connectivity also strengthen the downtown story. This matters? This matters because equity, as I've been saying, tends to strengthen where people can do 2 things: live and work. So, downtown West Palm Beach has become more than a nice place to visit. It is increasingly part of a broader economic and lifestyle shift in Palm Beach County. And county-level data in March 2026 showed Palm Beach single-family median prices up year over year with strong dollar volume and cash activity. So, for long-term buyers, that combination is hard to ignore. And as I said earlier, I would love to hear your lists. And I might even do another video with another 10 lists. This one was fun, just researching it and looking into it. But let me give you some other bonus that are probably worth watching in case you don't see the other video. And these are just a few more that didn't make my top 10 for now, but pay attention to this as well. First, we have Delray Beach, especially the downtown and near downtown corridor, because of the city continues to plan for growth and redevelopment and connectivity. We also have Coconut Grove because of premium demand and land constraints still matter. We have Aventura and the Northeast Corridor because future rail connectivity could continue to reshaping demand in the area. And Miami-Dade says that the Northeast Corridor would connect downtown Miami to Aventura, and that serves over 100,000 residents. And that will reduce weekday auto trips. Now, let me give you the part that a lot of videos leave out. So don't miss this. This is important because a neighborhood can have equity potential and still be a bad buy for you. And that is important because long-term appreciation is only one piece of the decision. You also need to think about all the factors that are also very important, that also affects the math. Insurance costs, flood exposure, HOA or condo association risk, special assessments, commute quality, school fits, exit strategy, especially if you're an investor, whether the neighborhood attracts end users or renters or both. And there's just so many layers that you have to just think about and remember. In South Florida's long-term story is not just growth, it's also resilience. Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach are all part of the Southeast Florida Regional Climate Change Compact, which tells you that climate change and adaptation planning are not side issues here. They're part of the real story. They're part of the real estate story here in South Florida. So when I say best equity potential, I do not mean buy blindly. I do not mean must buy. You still have to research block by block, zip code, area, market, pocket markets. Do your research, do it well. And I mean, most neighborhoods where the reward chase, looks strong enough that it is worth doing deeper due diligence, it's you might want to do that, but just don't miss that part. And here's a mistake I often see. People buy based on what impresses them for 20 minutes instead of what will still make sense 7 years from now. And that is a costly mistake, a mistake that I do not want you to make. So as you're looking into this, make sure you have the right realtor with you by your side. So let me give you a few practical takeaways. Number one, buy based on drivers, not the media or the noise. Know exactly what you're looking at. Do not choose a neighborhood just because it is trendy. Look for jobs, look for transit, look for school demand, land scarcity, and redevelopment. Number two, long-term equity is not the same as short-term excitement. Some of the best long-term neighborhoods are not the flashiest. They're the ones with stable buyer demand and staying power. Number three, study the exact packets, not just a zip code. A great city can have a weak block. A changing neighborhood can have one street you love and another one you would avoid. So make sure, take a look. Number four, run the full ownership math. Price is only part of the story. Insurance, taxes, condo fees, maintenance, and reserves, all that matter. And number five, match the neighborhood to your life. And that's important. I don't have to say more. But the right neighborhood can, for you, doesn't mean it's the right neighborhood for somebody else. The right neighborhood for an investor may not be the right neighborhood for one family or for a single family. The right neighborhood for somebody who's relocating may not be the right one for a first-time home buyer. So don't listen to the noise. Make sure you look for what affects you the most and what is best for you and your family or your business. And that's it. Run the numbers for you. That's important. South Florida still offers real opportunity and real money if you're willing to invest. But the easy money mindset is not the mindset that wins here. not long-term, not for sure. The people who tend to do best are the ones who buy with wisdom, they study the area, they understand the trade-off, and they choose a neighborhood that makes sense, not just for today, but for the future they're building. So whether you are buying your first home, your next home, or an investment property, I hope this video helps you see South Florida a little more clearly. And for my next video, I want you to watch my breakdown of 10 down payment myths that keep people from buying. I watch that video because if you're thinking about buying or investing, that'll give you some breakdowns and some traps that you want to avoid and some tips that'll be really good for you as a first-time home buyer or an investor, and it'll be great. A lot of good information there. And if this video helped you, please subscribe, please like, please share it with someone thinking about moving to South Florida or investing in South Florida. I work with both first-time home buyers, new construction, investors. My team and I, we're here. We're ready for you. And as always, I am Edwin Cillier. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, God loves you, and so do I. See you in the next video.